Hello and welcome to the OCVarsity Gridiron Show Playoff Preview Edition. I'm Jonathan Khamis, back from my World Series coverage, and I'm so happy to be back with Dan Albano to my left and Steve Fryer to my right. Guys, we're going to kick it off right away with Division I talk. And of course, number one, you have Mater Dei, and on the bottom side of the bracket, you have Centennial, so those two teams could meet.
St. John Bosco.
Two games we're going to talk about today, guys. J. Sarah at Long Beach Poly. Dan, I'll go to you first. You've seen both teams play this year. This is a good first-round matchup.
It is a really good first-round matchup. J. Sarah's on the road. They're kind of reeling a little bit. You know, they've lost 2 out of 3. They started 7-0, lost 2 out of 3. 2 of them weren't close. They really played their hearts out against Santa Margarita, lost the heartbreaker. They're battling some injuries. Both these teams I've seen, guys, have problems with penalties. They've got, both of these guys have got to have to watch the penalties, and we'll see which J. Sarah team shows up. I think it's going to be a pretty close game, and they're going to have to deal with a great quarterback in Corral at Long Beach Poly.
Dan, you will not be at that game, but you will actually be Servite at Mission Viejo. Steve, I'll get your take on this game. The Friars Trinity League team, South Coast champions Mission Viejo defeating San Clemente last week. Mission Viejo is high in our top 10, ranked number 2, but this is a quality Trinity League opponent.
Yeah, and Servite is really good. They got playmakers, really good group of receivers with Winfield. Quarterback McMahon can throw it and run it. Irvin's a good receiver as well. But Mission Viejo, they've got great guys all over the place. They got, Osborne at receiver, Griffin at receiver and defensive back. He's a heck of a cover guy, man. And they got Christian Laval making Junior Seau-like plays all over the field. They are really good. Good offensive line with Patterson. I think Yellen's getting better. I saw him early in the season, then I saw him just last week. Joe Yellen's gotten better as a quarterback over there, too. So, yeah, I would favor Mission Viejo in this game.
All right, Division II, La Habra hosting Edison. I can't wait for this game, guys. Dan, I'll get your quick take on it. Highlanders with 7 CIF championships. Their last one in 2015. Edison has won 6 CIF titles. Their last one, of course, last year with their head coach Dave White retiring. Dan, two Orange County powerhouses in the first round, no less.
I know something's got to give in this one. Friar's going to be covering it for it. It's probably the best first round game in Orange County because both these programs, you have to respect the way these guys go out and prepare for these games. Edison plays a good non-league schedule. So does La Habra. They're going to be ready. La Habra is going to try to maybe be methodical and try to run the ball. So that Edison defense is going to have to come up and stop that. And flip side, Edison's offense has got to watch turnovers. They're really relying on the pass. With the way the season's turned out for them. La Habra's got Clark Phillips III, a sophomore cornerback who had 2 more picks last week against Fullerton in the Freeway League Finals. He's got 8 picks. Chargers, as good as O'Connor is, they need to stay away from Clark Phillips.
Yeah, don't forget about Los Alamitos. They're in this division too, Steve. But let's go to Division III now, where El Toro will be taking on Villa Park. Villa Park, the Crestview League champion. This game will be at El Medina. It's always nice when you have one school versus another school at another school. Not confusing at all. Steve, El Toro VP. VP has been ranked pretty high in the top 25, and where do you see this matchup heading?
I would say Villa Park's got to be favoring this game, fellas. Although El Toro is good because they can score points with Cooper Jones at quarterback. Great group of receivers over there, too, and they're pretty good defensively. But I think Villa Park's maybe a little more stout on the defensive side. And they run the ball pretty good. Talavera's pretty good. And, they're switching quarterbacks. I'm not a big fan of switching quarterbacks. However, if I'm a defensive coordinator – and you've got a game plan for 2 different quarterbacks, come with defensive game plan for 2 guys, I'm not liking that. So I would give VP the edge on this one.
Okay, let's go to Division IV, guys, where it's Capistrano Valley, Corona Del Mar, and San Juan Hills. Capo Valley had a tremendous year this year, as well as Corona Del Mar. And Dan, when you talk about the Sea Kings, you got to talk about Tay Lee, one of the best wideouts, if you want to call them that, in the county. We saw them early against J. Sarah, and they really gave them all they could handle.
Yeah, Corona Del Mar is, it's got a really tough opener. They're the 4th seed, but, Roosevelt from the Big 8 League is no slouch. How about in this division, fellas? If it's Corona Del Mar, Capo Valley, the top seed in the semis, that would be a great game. Those are 2 top 10 teams in the county. really, Capo undefeated, 1 loss Corona Del Mar, 2 Publix. That'd be a great game.
Okay, Division 8 guys, Sunny Hills, they finished 8-2 on the year, having one of their better seasons, I think, in recent memory. And county leading rusher, Alex Jung, he is going to play with the Lancers. They are going to go on the road and take on Garden Grove. This is from the Garden Grove League, of course, on actually Thursday here, guys. What do you guys see in this matchup?
I see a black and blue battle, and both these teams getting real physical, known for running the ball. You know what Sunny Hills does. Garden Grove, the Argos pride themselves on playing physical. That's how they win that league every year. They're physical. They like to run the ball. They're going to have a lot of pride playing at home, and Sunny Hills is coming out of a tough freeway league. This would be a great game.
All right, let's talk Aliso Niguel. They are going to play Woodbridge Friday night. This is a Division 9 game at Uni High. Steve, Aliso Niguel, they've had their ups and downs this year, finishing 6-4. Meanwhile, Woodbridge 7-3.
Yeah, and they got really hot there too. They lost their first 2 games to Cypress and El Medina, then got hot, won a bunch of games in a row, and then they lost to Corona Del Mar in pretty much the Pacific Coast League Championship game. I really like Woodbridge because Nick Nash, all of a sudden, man, they figured it all out offensively, how to take advantage of this quarterback. Scored 6 touchdowns one game or something like that. So they're really good. But the opponent's pretty fine too. But I really like Woodbridge, and I think they've got a lot of momentum going to the playoffs.
Last playoff matchup is Korean Lutheran. They will be playing against Catella. Which division is this, guys? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13.
It is 13.
Yes, 13. Count all the way up, Steve.
This is the. I'm sorry, Catella. It's 11.
11. Okay, it's okay. It's all right.
13, watch out for Orange, right?
There you go. I was
unlucky.
For Orange, and they were not on this bracket. But yeah, this game's also on Thursday, fellas, as you guys know, playing at Glover Stadium, probably out of respect out of the Veterans Day, perhaps is one of the incentives on that. But this is an intriguing matchup. We have Catella soaring into the playoffs, won 9 in a row, champions of the Orange League. They're a motivated group. They've lost the last 2 years in the second round, but they're going to have to get by. The Saints bound for the Empire League. I think they're just going to continue to get better. But Catella's real physical, and they're going to be tough, to match. They might have their depth and numbers might be a little bit more than Korean Lutheran can handle.
Okay, guys, just to wrap it up now, anything else you'd like to talk about? Competitive equity, how much you missed me, anything of that nature?
How much I miss? No. Competitive equity, it's really interesting. We have these great matchups. And one thing I think that we're heading to eventually, I don't know how long it's going to take, but somehow maybe the top private schools will have their own playoff division. Maybe you have all the private schools in 3 different playoff divisions.
We all be long gone by then, Steve.
You know what? All somebody has to do is make a proposal. And I'm tired of hearing people complain about it, but not doing anything about it. Somebody comes with a proposal, brings the CIF-SS council, let's do these playoff divisions this way. Maybe it'll pass muster. But until then, you have things like you got public school teams. Like
San Clemente, Mission Viejo in Division 1. That's tough.
Mission Viejo gets a lot of transfers. I mean, they're on their 2nd consecutive year with the Trinity League, ex-Trinity League quarterback, on their team. So they're getting guys too.
Well, let me ask you this. How would Mission do in the Trinity League? Dan, I'll go to you.
Oh, Mission Viejo would be... fighting, I think they would have had a chance to, this year they would have probably perhaps finished 2nd. Maybe they can beat Bosco. Bosco barely beat Santa Margarita, and Mission Viejo barely beat Santa Margarita. No one's beaten Mater Dei, in my opinion. I'll crown them right now, but they would have been 2nd.
And San Clemente's got a former Trinity League quarterback there, Costello. Margarita guy for a while, Mission Viejo for a little bit. But
San Clemente Division 1 caliber. I mean, I don't think so.
In some ways they are, but in some ways they're not. It's a tough one. I just think it would be. I think it would calm everybody down if they did do a separate playoff division thing. If you want to play Mater Dei in a non-league game, go for it. But should you have to play them in a playoff division? Maybe not.
And I think one model that's seems to gaining more speed in the southern section is and I know Fryer and you and Jonathan probably familiar with it. The basketball model with the open division. Yeah. And I'm learning more about it this year. Like with boys water polo, you have an elite 8. Got down to 8. They start right in the quarterfinals. Maybe you could have an elite 8 in football. Start right at the quarterfinals. and play 3 rounds. And so it should be interesting. Maybe that would alleviate some of it. But, and real quickly, I wanted to throw out 2 other divisions we didn't talk about because I think it's going to be a great CIF playoff.
Yeah, nothing with you is real quick. But continue. Continue. I love you,
Orange
Dan.
County, we got to watch out for Santa Ana Saints in Division 12. And I think Division 7 with El Medina and a bunch of other teams like Yorba Linda. Division 7 is a great division. There's a bunch of great divisions out there, but watch out.
Division 12, my team I'm looking at there is El Dorado.
There we go. Yeah.
All right.
They played El Medina.
I saw them play Elmo, and they
were there.
They physically matched up okay with them.
Can they beat Santa Ana?
That's the game, baby. I tell you, man.
We will have to see, and make sure to check out OCVarsity.com or OCRegister.com, our high school section, where we will have previews like you can't even imagine. Nobody breaks down high school football like these two. I'm just a host. What do I know?
And we just argue more about it, like when this camera shuts off, we're going to keep going.
Yeah, it never ends. I just leave.
We should just Periscope the rest of the day.
They're going to have their prediction show later in the week. We'll be out at all the games. Make sure to say hi. Check out the recaps. Check out the photos. Check out the videos. We got you covered like nobody else. Right, Steve?
That is correct, sir.
Yeah, that's what it says on the teleprompter right there. All right, thanks to Dan. Thanks to Steve. I'm Jonathan Khamis. I'm happy to be back, and I'm excited for playoff action this weekend. Thanks for watching, guys.